Good afternoon, and welcome to the West Burlington Independent School District Candidate Forum conducted by the Greater Burlington Partnerships Government Relations Committee. My name is Todd Shelf. I am the General Counsel for Great River Health System, and I will be your moderator for this afternoon. Our timekeeper is Stephen Brody with the Greater Burlington Partnership. In the interest of time and fairness to the other candidates, I'm going to ask each of the candidates to observe Stephen's signal and stop your response when time is up. The forum will consist of rounds of questions to which each candidate will have up to 2 minutes to respond. A decision was made by the Government Relations Committee to have the candidates answer questions impromptu. In other words, they have not seen the questions in advance. Questions from the audience or online will be reviewed to ask if time permits. Candidates are seated in alphabetical order: Andrea Bowen, Michael Davis, Neil Johnson, and Vanessa Johnson. Candidate Cassie Curtis was not available to join us this afternoon, but she did provide the following statement. I am Cassie Curtis, and I am running for a seat on the school board because I believe that every student deserves a high-quality education. As a mother of four, one an alum of West Burlington, and two current students, I am passionate about open and transparent education, supporting our educators while allowing parents to be an active part of their children's education. We need to focus on giving all our students a well-rounded education with engaging classes and extracurricular activities while not losing the focus of preparing our students for success after they leave our halls. I will strive to make every child in our school feel safe and cared for, knowing the education of the next generation is in our hand and in our future is in theirs. I humbly ask for your support and your vote. Thank you. All right. Now, for the four candidates that are with us, let's start by having you introduce yourself and share why you are running for a seat on the school board. Each of you will have 60 seconds. We'll begin with you, Andrea.
Okay. My name's Andrea Bowen, and I'm running for a second full term on the West Burlington Independent School District Board of Directors. As it has been a great responsibility over the last 5+ years, it has also been very challenging for me personally at times. I believe through everything as a board, we have continued to ensure the creation of a shared vision with plans and goals that reflect common values with a central focus on student learning.
Thank you. Mr. Davis?
My name is Mike Davis. I'm running for re-election. When I ran 4 years ago, I have two kids that go to West Burlington School District. I want to have the best education for my kids, for my neighbors, and use our taxpayers' dollars to the best of our benefit. I want to make outstanding leaders coming forward, and I thought this is a great way to do. Over the last 4 years, we had some budget challenges, which we still face, and we also faced COVID, which I think we came out actually very well doing. So I look forward to the opportunity over the next 4 years to continue the forward momentum of trying to prepare our students for the future.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
Hello, my name is Neil Johnson. We currently have two kids in the school district, and we have one that will be starting in a couple of years. So one of the things one of the reasons why I'm running for election is I want to make sure we have long-term success for our school district, provide great education for futures to come. Going to be very well invested in it with having a child that's going to be starting or staying in the district for a long time. I think some of the key things that I'm looking at is some of the fiscal responsibility of the board and where the money's being spent and if it's done wisely. The other thing is the open communication with back and forth with parents and community. I think we could definitely step it up in that area.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson.
I'm Vanessa Johnson, and I am running for my first full term. I am currently in a vacant spot. I ran as a write-in candidate 2 years ago, and I am rerunning to try and strive for more communication and being able to hold people accountable and having that open communication with parents in the school and to make them feel like they are able to have a voice. I like to try and, in board meetings, ask the questions that they have asked me, and I try to do that to the best of my ability.
Thank you. To our first question then. Ms. Bowen, we'll start with you again on this question. What do you see as the West Burlington Independent School District's strengths and celebrations? What can be done to advance this to the community?
As I said, I mean, student learning, I feel like that is our primary focus overall. And I think we're always striving to provide the best programs and just classroom activities, et cetera. I mean, I know that is our central focus for the board, for the administration, for the teachers. So I think I guess what's the metrics, the achievement is there. So obviously continuing with that is where I think we all want to be. We do have some financial challenges that are always there, and just continuing to navigate those so we can continue to provide the best possible education for our kids.
Thank you. Mr. Davis?
I think West Burlington Independent School District has a lot of things to celebrate. When you look at a very high graduation rate, I think that's one thing. When you look at 50% of our students are not from our district, that also tells you that open enrollment is we're a desirable district. I think we have some just top-notch teachers that want to continue to serve our students to the best of their ability. They keep getting continued degrees, and the fun thing is when we do lose a teacher, it's because they continue their education. They're moving on to higher levels of being principals and other administrative staff. I think it's a wonderful place to be, that we are preparing actually our students for the future to be successful adults.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
I think definitely our school district is one of the more sought-after school districts. We've heard it from several parents outside the school district trying to open enroll in when they run into a cap limit. So it's not just our residents and everybody in the community that thinks it. It's the people outside of West Burlington think that as well. I think for some things, as far as celebrating, I think getting more active we are starting to get more active in social media, starting to see more on the school district's page, especially when it comes to some of the educational achievements in the sports. I think we maybe still have a little bit of room for growth there, but I think they do a good job of celebrating most of the stuff right now.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson?
I might sound like a broken record because everybody has stated a lot of the things that I'm about to, but one of them is that our school is very highly sought after. We have to turn some kids away because we do not have room in classrooms for them. And I love our teachers. Like, our teachers collaborate very well. They are a great team. They continue to learn and help each other out, no matter if they're fifth grade to the first grade level in math or vice versa. They try to collaborate between the junior high and elementary with the help of the instructional coaches. And the way that we see the increase in the percentages of our students learning from the prior years by certain tests that they take, it just shows that the teachers have commitment to help our students, and the students are learning and going in the right direction. We do have a struggle with the communications, which is something I spoke about in my opening statement, but it needs to be better, and there's always improvement no matter what school district you're in or what job you have.
Thank you. I'll give you a chance to go first so you don't sound like a broken record at some point. I promise. Our next question revolves around the superintendent. Lisa Beams, the West Burlington Independent School District Superintendent, recently submitted her resignation effective June 30th, 2024. What qualities and traits will you be looking for in a new superintendent for the West Burlington Independent School District? Ms. Johnson, we'll start with you.
Thank you. So I'm going to be asking questions about their financial backgrounds and their educational background, which you always do in an interview, and to see how they hold people accountable for their actions and how they communicate with their superiors and their subordinates. And if they have great communication skills, which you can tell by an interview, and how they speak with you. They also need to obviously have the education to have a superintendent position or to apply for it. And I lost my last part. But overall, they are going to be a great asset. No matter how many people interview, the person that the board chooses as a whole will be a great superintendent.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, same question.
Sure. I'd like to thank Mrs. Beams for her service up to this point. She's done a fantastic job of getting us through some very good challenges. Looking forward for a new candidate, the administration, the board has done a lot of work on what we call the portrait of a graduate. We know where our students are right now. We lost some ground during COVID. Our students were anywhere from 3 to 6 months behind on learning, and we have ways to remediate that. We know when our kids graduate, we know where we want them to be. And so we're trying to find a superintendent that is not necessarily coming in with brand new ideas, but we're trying to finish up with the framework we already have. So just like Ms. Johnson said, we're looking for a great communicator. We want somebody that is going to take an active lead that can actually continue the unity we have between all the staff and has to have just open communication. We need somebody that is continue to be fiscal responsible, but also has to be very aware of the new challenges we have with technology and education and where our programming is going. We're trying to make students as they graduate that they are actually ready for the real world to either proceed to college, to a trade school, or to be able to get a job from day one. We want them to know what the options are out there and actually how to be that job. So we need a superintendent that can lead us moving forward, but has to be a uniter, not a divider.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
I think two of the key things I'm going to be looking for would be the financial aspect, somebody that's well versed in the financial side of a school district with the financial problems that it's already been mentioned a little bit. I think that's going to go a long way towards long-term success for a school district. The other thing is the communication skills, how well they communicate with not just the community, or not just the teachers, but everybody in the community as well. I mean, I think it is very important to the community as a whole, having kids that are ready to start jobs or other schools, kids that are invested in schools themselves, parents that are invested in schools, making sure everybody knows what's going on instead of relying on parents to seek out that information, maybe provide more information to them, make it easier to find, or go out and seek out the input from parents and community members.
Thank you. Ms. Bowen?
I think we've come a long way. In the last 5 years, there were a lot of changes that happened, not just COVID, going into a new administration, our curriculum director, just things that we've added and I feel like we've put in place to help the teachers be successful and in turn help the students be successful. So obviously someone who, again, wants to continue what we've already started. I think we have a great start in a lot of areas. Obviously, in every business and profession, there's always room for growth. So just finding someone that is able to understand, and it's not just financial issues, but we have a different financial situation than most schools, especially just with our high rate of open enrollment. So that is something to navigate, something we've worked really hard at having a handle on. So being able to step in and continue to keep our district healthy. So that's what I would focus on.
Thank you. Our next question. In your opinion, what is the biggest priority facing the school district, and what would you like to see accomplished during your term in that regard? Mr. Davis, we'll start with you.
I think we want to have a culture. We want to have a friendly, warm, welcoming culture where it's a culture of continued learning. I think we want to encourage kids that they want to be lifelong learners, not just to study for this test or this trimester class, whatever it is, but we want to encourage people throughout their lifetime to continue to learn new skills, to expand themselves personally, professionally. And so if we can make people excited to try new things, to go new places, continue just to better themselves, be better people, I think I want that culture of just being better people.
Thank you. Mr. Mr. Johnson?
Can you repeat the question for me?
can.
Sorry.
Thank you, because I was,
Absolutely.
can't remember.
In your opinion, what is the biggest priority facing the school district? And what would you like to see accomplished during your term in that regard?
So biggest priority right now, I would go back to the financial side of it. I think we already have, all of us kind of agree that we have a great student body, teachers, well sought after school district. I think we're definitely in the right direction or where we need to be for that. But I think we also need to make sure that we have a 3, 5, 10-year plan, maybe not necessarily approving everything for future boards, but have the structure in place to where we and the community as a whole knows where we're going and where we want to go with the school district, and make sure that there's no opportunities that are lost down the road because we can't afford to give them to our kids. We need to make sure that they have every opportunity and the best opportunities in the state to get the type of education they want and need, and give them as many experiences as possible.
Thank you. Ms. Bowen?
I mean, definitely on the financial side, we need to continue to move forward. It's an educational, I've learned a lot, but educational finances is very specific, and we do have some challenges on how we take in money through open enrollment. So I think we've done a lot of work to forecast where we're going to be, but there's still work to be done. So that is a huge priority because that's kind of where it all starts. We can't offer everything that we need to offer if we don't have the funds to do it. So that's definitely, I would say, our kind of always our, and probably a lot of schools, especially for the board, a huge priority.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson?
The funding aspect is a great priority, as other people have stated. And we need to continually improve that and try and find ways to make our dollar stretch a little bit longer and not spend money on frivolous things, and try and put that towards our education of our students because they are our number one priority. And if they aren't there, there is no reason for us to be there.
Thank you. Our next question. How do you attract and retain high-quality educators and staff to the West Burlington Independent School District? Mr. Johnson, we will start with you.
I think a lot of it we need to, and I'm not sure what's been done on that aspect, but start talking to those teachers that have been there long term. We have a lot of teachers that have several years of have experience teaching at West Burlington. What's made them stay? What's made them, if they've ever thought about leaving, why were they thinking? What can we do to make sure that doesn't come up again? Start talking to the new teachers, new ones every year. How are they feeling about the environment as a whole? How are they feeling about the community? Do they feel supported? Just making sure we get as much information as possible about the people that are actually experiencing it, because none of us are teachers. We're not going to know from their perspective what's going to be helpful as far as incentivizing more people to apply for our school district or want to come here to teach.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Again. How do you attract and retain high-quality educators and staff to the West Burlington Independent School District?
Are you asking, like, how do we, like, the current board or potential board, or is it, like, how we have?
How would you?
Okay. I believe that we would, just based on trying to, with keeping our school district smaller, a lot of people are attracted to that because it's less students per teacher, or, you know, we have paras to help out as well. But having the smaller school district helps a lot of teachers wanting to come to ours. But I also believe that we need to try and incentivize them a little bit more by offering possibly more salary versus what they currently get paid. And I think that teachers deserve it. They do a lot of hard work, and they are the professionals. I'm not a teacher, but I would not be able to do their job.
Thank you. Ms. Bowen?
I would say because, I mean, we have talked about this, because, yes, obviously, it would be great to be able to offer, the highest possible salaries. Obviously, everything has to fit within, that educational funding, but I think what we have provided under the request of the administrators is, one, the PLC conference, which for teachers has been an invaluable experience, that they can come back and create their own culture and collaboration to basically have the best possible working environment. I think that as a board are things that we can continue to do to offer the resources that they need as best we can, so then they can perform in their jobs. Because I do think the culture that is created in the workplace is what helps retain staff as much as possible. So,
Thank you. Mr. Davis?
That's a great question. I think a couple of things we've done recently would be, we've always had our early outs, and we have changed those to actually give our teachers more times to do collaborative work. So we want all of our fifth grade math teachers to actually say, what are you doing? How can we do this better as a group? So actually invest in our teachers to give them the quality time they need to prepare and see where we're really at and move our students forward. Over the last 4 years while being on the board, a couple other things we've accomplished was making sure that we didn't have any wages that were froze. We actually were able to sign a 3-year contract for the first time in I don't know how long, instead of doing a year-to-year contract, telling our teachers that we value you, we appreciate what you do, and hey, let's not worry about the money. Let's move forward. Let's actually get to the business of teaching. So I think encouraging our teachers to get additional degrees, additional training, empowering them to actually do their profession. I thank them for what they do, and I think we're trying to help them as much as we can. One other thing, as far as retention, we have worked very hard on insurance the last 4 years. To be competitive, all of us have different jobs and professions. Insurance is very costly, and if you can't afford insurance for you or your family, that's kind of one of those big financial pieces that we have to be responsible to us and also to them. So we'll just continue moving that forward.
Thank you. Our next question is a little lengthy. I'll read it twice before calling on the first person. Recently, Des Moines County School Districts collaborated to attend Teacher Appreciation Day and heard from best-selling author Mark C. Perna. As a means of demonstrating further collaboration, what policies can the school board put into place, or programs can you support to ensure career pathway opportunities for students? I'll read that again. Recently, Des Moines County School Districts collaborated to attend Teacher Appreciation Day and heard from best-selling author Mark C. Perna. As a means of demonstrating further collaboration, what policies can the school board put into place, or programs can you support to ensure career pathway opportunities for students? Ms. Bowen, we'll start with you.
I think already the district administrators are meeting on a consistent basis. But things that we are doing is we do have joint programs with different schools. Our health sciences class, it was with Burlington, I believe now it's with Mediapolis. So basically, I think we're all better together, and not every district in the county can provide every single program. Like, I believe Mediapolis is the only school with an FFA and an ag program. I believe it's Mediapolis, not Danville. But if our kids want to be in that, it would be great that they can have that opportunity. And I think there is a lot of work being done to have some joint programs so more students have more availability to programs that maybe not every school can provide individually. So I think continuing that work will be of great importance, and also continue collaboration with SEC to help further, especially on the career tracks for all students, because the majority of our students do go to SCC for their further education, at least to start. So,
Thank you. Ms. Johnson?
I'm going to second what Andrea said, because that is something that we are currently doing. I believe that another thing that we are currently doing is we are going to shift some grades around to make more rooms for our CTE programs at the high school, and that will create more of a it'll create more educational opportunities for students to learn outside of what we currently offer and what other schools that we currently collaborate with offer, and it'll give them a way to stay on campus and get those opportunities and not have to go outside of our school district.
Thank you. Mr. Davis.
Thank you to the partnership for bringing Mr. Perna in. I actually saw him on Thursday night. He was pretty dynamic. When we start talking about how do we actually move forward with our students, just like the other two have said, moving forward with our CTE programs, in the last year or two have actually started a coffee shop in the high school. And so the students in the business class actually operate a functional coffee shop. So during their class periods, they're working, not only serving, but they are also ordering, doing the financing, and seeing how the business will run. With the CTE programs, we're advancing how the industrial arts programs can all go into that. I think when we start talking about encouraging not only job shadowing, but also some of the internships, our building trades do some of the competitions as far as recently, like framing up some steel framed walls and actual hands-on skills. As we move forward, the baby boomers right now, as they start to retire, we're losing a lot of hands-on manual labor jobs that we need to prepare our students for, and there's a lot of opportunities out there for actual hands-on growth. This last Friday, I spoke at SCC for a career day for physical therapy, and it's fun seeing a whole room of students that are interested in healthcare professions. And so I think as experts in our fields, whatever we do, I think we need to go out and do mentorship. We need to be in the classrooms. We need to make sure that our schools are reaching out to the local business, the local trade, and see where we're needed, and encourage our kids to explore, try some things out, see it, and see where it leads to.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
For the collaboration, I think we do a really good job as a county as a whole and a school district as a whole, giving students some available opportunities they wouldn't have if we were isolated. I'd like to see us expand on the collaborative efforts. I know they meet currently with all the school districts in Des Moines County. I'd like to see more of our people in our district get involved statewide, find out, there's hundreds of other school districts in the state that are around our size, slightly bigger, maybe a little bit smaller. What are they doing with their students? What programs do they have in place? When you get as many ideas as possible, it's a lot easier to tailor it to the needs of our kids. There could be something out there that we don't have to invent, but it's something great for our kids, something to give them more experience, better education, and give them a leg up on life.
Thank you. Continuing the theme of collaboration, that's easy for me to say, an individual school board member has no authority. Only the board as a whole can make decisions for the district. What skills or traits will allow you to contribute to the effective operation of the board as a whole? Let's start with you, Mr. Davis.
Okay, thank you. I think some of the things that I bring to the table, both my kids are in high school now. Over the years, I've helped coach baseball and softball teams. When it comes to other aspects of my life, I've helped with Vacation Bible School for 20 plus years. I teach the little kids Sunday school every year for the last dozen years. In the world of physical therapy, I represented all the physical therapist assistants on a national level for 8 or 9 years. So that gave me a very strong background in Robert's Rules and how to effectively change bylaws, motions to most effectively get the best effort out of those. I think that being open and listening to my friends, my neighbors, the community, just that openness to try to fully grasp the problems and try to see every angle, even the ones I don't necessarily agree with, but have a nice sit-down conversation. Tell me why you believe this so strongly, and have just the good dialogue, and we can either agree or we can also agree to disagree.
Thank you. Ms. Bowen?
I'm trying to halfway remember the question.
Would you like me to read it again?
Sure.
All right, thank you. As an individual school board member, let me change that. An individual school board member has no authority. Only the board as a whole can make decisions for the district. What skills or traits will allow you to contribute to the effective operation of the board as a whole?
I mean, I think listening is a big part of it. Obviously, there's always different opinions, especially between five different members, but just listen to the sides and, you know, given the information presented us, make the best possible decision that I feel I can make. So that's really all I can do individually. So,
Thank you. Ms. Johnson.
My traits for this are, like, I'm a listener. I believe in people in the way that they have their concerns about things, and I believe that they should have somebody on their side, and I am a person that does that. I listen to their concerns, and I question, and I vote based on what my constituents want, and if it aligns with what is best for the school district. And I believe that is like my best trait that I have for this position. I listen to them, they come to me with concerns, and I go based on what they want. And that is kind of what part of our job is listening, because they are the people that voted us here, and they want us to do what they want. And I am a people person, I am a hairdresser, so I kind of have to be. And I can sit there and I can talk with people all day long, and I can have fun. And sometimes that makes board meetings go longer, but I do ask the hard questions. If there aren't answers to them, they find them, and I will ask again if that is what is needed.
Mr. Johnson.
So a little bit more about my background. I've had almost 20 years experience in business management. So I think looking at the financial aspect of stuff and being used to looking at numbers a lot, whether it's spreadsheets or different software programs that keep track of it, I think I could really bring a lot to that. I'm also a problem solver. I am in any type of manufacturing, you inevitably run into problems, and usually trying to find the root cause of those problems so that way they don't keep coming up in the future.
Thank you. Question. Any real estate professional will tell you that the property values are connected in part to the reputation of the local school district. What do you think West Burlington Independent School District can do to increase West Burlington's attractiveness in the region? We'll start with you, Ms. Johnson.
Can you repeat the last part of the question? What can we do to
Back
what?
up. Yep. What do you think West Burlington Independent School District can do to increase West Burlington's attractiveness in the region?
I believe that our school, as I've said previously, is a very sought-after school district. If a house goes up on the market in West Burlington, it's hardly there for more than a month, and if it is, there's other things that people aren't wanting in that house, and we attract families, and we even still have elderly people living in our school district because they love our school district, they love the neighborhoods, and I feel like if we can keep that morale out there, and we can try and collaborate with the city a little bit more. We've had a collaboration meeting before and figure out how to get more houses into our school district and into our neighborhoods. It will help, and it will still increase the values of homes, and keeping our school having the same morale as it currently has will help as well. It's a very sought after school district, and a lot of people want to be in West Burlington.
Mr. Johnson?
Again, I think one of the biggest things we could have is as much information as possible. So going out and soliciting the information. If one thing doesn't work, don't stop there. Just keep trying to get as many people in the community as involved as possible. That way we get a broader idea of what people currently in the community think. Possibly solicit information from people slightly outside of the community or further outside if they were looking to move to Southeast Iowa, why would they choose our school district? Having that information ahead of time can definitely point us in the right direction on any decisions we need to make as a board.
Thank you. Mr. Davis?
My wife and kids and I have lived in West Burlington for over 20 years now, and there's definitely a pride of living there. One of my favorite things is we look at the 4th of July celebration. You actually see neighbors out living life and doing things. The Johnsons and I we're neighbors, and so we all lead busy lives, but we don't get to hang out with each other enough, unfortunately. As we start talking about how do real estate values and all these things go into there, you want to be a desirable district. I think about when it comes to hometown community pride. When you go to any football game, you go to the volleyball games, when you see just a sea of green, you want to have that pride in your community, your school, but also in your home and your neighborhood. So I want to continue to improve our kids' education. And so if you continue to have that strong education, the sense of community, you have everybody woven into multiple things, not just going to school, but school plus that at least one activity, you really get that hometown buy-in where people are proud to say, hey, I'm an alumni from there, and I want my grandkids to go there too. So to me, it's all about being proud of where you're from and wanting to have the best people there with you.
Thank you. Ms. Bowen?
Well, as part of my day job, I can tell you the property values are there, more than there. Obviously what we face is a 2-mile square district. Our district's pretty full as far as what we can build. Truly looking at what we need, if we had some bigger homes, that would be great. It's just where can you put them within the district? Because I do think sometimes people move out, maybe to Burlington to just get a different house. They've been in their starter home, they moved out, things like that, and that does go to some of our open enrollment. So, I think it is sought after. I don't think. I think we have to continue to do what we're doing to, continue to have the success that we're having. I'm not sure we can maybe go up too far with our values. I think we're providing that. So.
Thank you. How can schools address the needs of diverse students? Mr. Johnson?
Still kind of falling back to just gathering as much information as we can and then following up. If anytime a decision's made, make sure there's a mechanism in place to where we're gathering information after the fact. That way we know if it's the correct decision. I know everybody on the board tries to vote with what they think is going to be the best decision for the school district and the kids as a whole, but I think there could be a follow-up mechanism put into place in most policies that are voted on. That way we make sure that it is actually the best decision and not something that needs revisited later. So talking to anybody, I don't know about publishing issues necessarily, but making sure everybody who could be affected by it or make decisions around it, if there is an issue, making sure they're aware of it, so that way they have the most informed opinion and the most informed vote going forward.
Thank you. Ms. Bowen?
I guess, can you just repeat the question?
Sure.
Real quick.
How can schools address the needs of diverse students?
I think we do have to have, we do have some things in place, but diverse can mean a lot of different things, and I think we need to make sure we are, if there is an issue, that it's tackled head on. And I think we have to put our faith in the educators that we've hired to be able to navigate those issues and give them the resources they need to deal with them. I think it's the best thing you can do as a board.
Ms. Johnson?
For the diversity, if you're going to go towards like their educational purposes for students with special needs, we partner with the AEA already, and we also have a TAG program, which is the talented and gifted. So we offer things to help with the diversity of the education and how each student learns. We have students taken out of classrooms that need the extra help, or if they need to be taken out to be in their TAG program to have, more of a challenge. I believe our school district is meeting that, but there's also always improvement no matter where you go. As for every other aspect of diversity, I believe that our population is pretty diverse, and I believe that our students all, for the most part, can get along, and the collaboration between the teachers and the students, they have great, not necessarily friendships, but they collaborate really well together. The students relate that like the teachers like the students, and I believe that just as a whole, our school with diversity is working the way it is, and as I've said previously, there's always room for improvement.
Thank you. Mr. Davis.
I think that's a continual process. I think we start talking about diversity. It can be a lot of different things. I think, first of all, you need to have, it goes back to a culture. You need to have rules and regulations, board policies. Here's how we treat things. Here's how we deal with issues that pop up. But at the same time, that culture of kindness, of everybody wanting to be teammates and helping themselves to help others around you to be the best person they can be. I think having teachers that are open and willing to help for whatever the kid needs. I think having our counselors and resources for our students. Over the last 4 years, we've dealt with like CHC and Eagle View to try to get, if there needs to be suicide prevention, other grief counseling. We have a lot of resources in place for the real struggles that our students deal with these days. So we have a lot of resources available for the students already. But I think as far as just have a willingness and openness to meet the students where they're at, and just to say, you're part of our district, no matter what your thing is, no matter how your life looks, that you're part of our Falcon family.
Thank you. What should the school district be doing to ensure the safety of our students and staff? Ms. Johnson, let's start with you.
They need to be asking questions and making sure that the students feel safe, which our school district does send out a survey, and we don't always get 100% feedback, but our teachers need to be asking questions as well, and our administration, and we need to have an accountability of where it's actually getting done and kids aren't just getting swept under the rug. I'm not saying that that's happening, but just to be sure that it's not happening. And students should feel happy and able to go to their teacher or the administration or anybody like that if they do have concerns, and they shouldn't feel like they are pushed away because they aren't important enough. And I believe that is something that could possibly happen. Some things happen like that in every school district, and it's just something that is really important to kids if we want to keep them in school and keep their education going. If they're not happy at school and feeling safe, then they're not going to do well in school, and they're not going to prosper like we want them to.
Mr. Davis.
In our hierarchy of needs, food, shelter, and safety, it's what every student needs. If you're not sleeping well at home, if you're having issues, then you're not going to get a good education because you don't have that ability to focus. We want students to know that school is a safety net, that we are there for them, that when you see our police officers in the morning, they're helping direct traffic. When you see all the associates out lining the kids up for in the morning or at recess, when you know that any of the administrative teams, the teachers, everyone is there for them, that there's actually adults that care for them. So when we start talking about, yes, we have the simple things like locking our buildings and we have all the protocols in place, that's fine. But once again, it kind of comes down to this culture that students need to know that they are there, they are safe, we want what's best for them, and we are there to help them to learn in a good and healthy environment.
Ms. Bowen.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there's a safety and security. Obviously, there's the everyday level, like they've talked about, as far as being able to provide a safe place for kids to go with their problems, be that a counselor, a teacher, an administrator, and also the stuff that is more technical, like what happens if there truly is a safety concern for the whole school, which I think we're working on all of those policies as well, directly with the police department and fire department and all of those things that can happen at a totality of the school level. So just having all those resources in place, obviously, would be the most important thing.
Mr. Johnson.
I think overall the school district's done pretty good for the most part, especially physical safety. I know there's policies in place to take care of any issues that come up or to mitigate as many risks as possible. There could be possibly some more time face-to-face, smaller group settings, pulling kids to talk to make sure that they feel safe. I know a lot of kids don't want to talk in front of the entire school or in front of their class or in front of even 10 other kids sometimes. Make sure that they know what resources are available to them if they do have an issue. Currently, I think right now it's in a handbook. I don't know how often they talk to them about it, but just make sure that all that information is out there to the kids and parents alike. That way they know they're not in it alone if there is an issue or that they feel there could be an issue.
Thank you. This will be our last question. What do you believe is the first priority of public education? Mr. Johnson, we'll start with you.
I think the main priority is making sure kids are in an environment where they feel that they can get the education that they need, whatever path that takes them on, however many times they change their mind. They have a lot of options, a lot of experiences, and at the end of the day, when you have a kid graduating, they look back and realize that they are most of the way or all the way ready for whatever next step they're going to take, that they're comfortable making that decision, and that they know that they had the best possible opportunity to do it.
Ms. Bowen?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just the overall development of our children, I mean, that's what it's all about, whether it's through academic, extracurricular, all of those things. Hopefully we can provide, something for everyone. I know when we added the gaming activity sport, at first it's kind of like, why? That's interesting, but when it was presented by the administrators as this is going to reach kids that we don't normally reach, maybe through some of the band or the sports, and it makes sense. So just continuing to be able to provide things so all of our students can get a whole life experience through their education.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson?
I agree with what Andrea said. Adding the esports was a great idea to reach those students that aren't usually reached out to for, because not every kid is athletic and not every kid is, a speech and a debate star. I believe, every kid feeling inclusive with other students and joining a different club that has people that they didn't know were into the same things. It's a broader spectrum for kids and gets them out and meeting new students and possibly becoming friends with students other than the ones that they already have been with. There's always new kids coming into the school district, so it's giving those kids opportunities to meet new students as well and not just in their classes. The education is a very big priority in having those kids feel inclusive and having friends and having somewhere to go when they aren't a football player or a volleyball player. I think we're going in the right direction by trying to find the needs that other students need and not just sports and band.
Thank you. Mr. Davis?
My mother taught high school special ed for 20 plus years, and seeing kids that had fallen behind for whatever the reason, just knowing that somebody was there to believe in them that they can do that. I think meeting our students just know that they're in a culture that somebody believes in them. School should be a place that is warm, welcoming, friendly, and it's a healthy environment, which unfortunately, kids don't have that these days. So I think for kids to know that there is a place that we believe in them, that we actually know they can do this, and whether you're the very front of the class or kind of tailing somewhere behind, just know that we have methods in place that we can get them where they need to be. So I think having that continued culture that we believe in you no matter what happens, and we will help get you there, meet you where you're at right now. We set these goals. Here is the methods, the processes in place, and here's the mechanics of how we're going to make this thing happen, that we're going to get you to where that finish line of that diploma is.
Thank you. As I said, we will now move into our closing statements. In your closing remarks, please share with us what sets you apart from other candidates. We would do this in reverse order, reverse alphabetical order. So Ms. Johnson, you are first.
I believe something that sets me apart from the others is the fact that it's a really hard question to answer. Let's see. I don't always vote with what everybody else thinks. I do vote no if I don't feel like it is what is best, and I listen to my constituents. And there have been a couple issues that have been brought up that I have voted no, and I have been outvoted on. And I feel like I am not a yes man, and I ask the hard questions, and I stick to my guns and what I feel is right for our students and from what other people have concerns about.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
I think number one thing that's different for me is I haven't been on the school board. I haven't held a public office at all yet. So I think I'm going to bring a little bit different perspective. I think I am going to be asking a lot more questions than what typically get asked at our board meetings. Going to try to ask for more details. That's not only for just what I'm going to vote on, because that's the best way for parents and community members to know exactly, or as many of the details on the programs or policy or whatever we happen to be voting on. So I think it'll bring a fresh perspective to the board as well.
Thank you. Mr. Davis.
I thank the community for my first 4 years being able to serve the West Burlington School District. It was definitely a learning curve, not going to lie, with even coming in with other board experiences, not only with learning how a school functions, knowing, especially on the financial side of things, there were definitely some challenges with that. But I feel like I really cut my teeth the first 4 years to be able to really get a good grasp of how to move this thing forward. My wife and kids support me in this. It does take time. There are some late nights studying for this, and so I have the time in my schedule, I have the availability, I have the passion. With having a freshman and a senior this year, I want the best for my kids, and I want the best for my neighbors. So I look forward to another 4 years to continue to move our district forward. It is the best. I want to continue to be the best. I want to have the best kids out there that we can be proud to say we're the West Burlington family.
Thank you. Ms. Bowen.
I just say if I'm elected, I just think it's crucial that we continue to work together. As a board, we would have a very important job in front of us, hiring a new superintendent. That's one of the biggest things that a board can do. I do have experience of doing that 5 years ago, so I just want to get us in the best position so all our students can thrive.
Thank you. And I want to thank each of you for your interest in serving the West Burlington community. Public service can often be a thankless job, but we need dedicated individuals to serve. I also want to thank the Greater Burlington Partnership and its Government Relations Committee for hosting this event, and thank those in the audience here and those who have been watching and or listening online for your interest in this school board election. Please vote for the candidate of your choice in the West Burlington Independent School District Board of Education election on Tuesday, November 7th. Good night.